This is a Ford Fiesta made between 2013 and 2017. This particular one is the 1 litre without a turbo, which came in either Z-Tech trim or titanium trim. The Z-Tech trim has most of what you need, including electric wing mirrors and Bluetooth connectivity for your phone. Go up to the titanium trim level and you'll get cruise control, a snazzier stereo and climate control also. I'm going to tell you what's good and bad about this car, but firstly, let's talk about this little engine. Now I said non-turbo, and that's because most Ford 1 litres get a turbocharger. This one doesn't. So it should be cheaper to insure, but is it still going to be usable with such a small amount of power? For those who don't know, any engine that doesn't have a turbo or a supercharger is known as a normal engine. Most people call them normally aspirated, or some people say naturally aspirated. But if you hear those words, it basically means there's no turbo or supercharger, which is quite rare these days. So what does this mean then? Well, if you get the turbo version, you can have somewhere between 100 horsepower and 140 horsepower, depending on which one you go for. This non-turbo version has just 79 horsepower. It also has around 100 newton meters of torque, and it gets to 60 in approximately 15 seconds, which, if you know much about 0 to 60 times, you don't get much slower than that. So, does having such little power make it a pain in the backside to use on a day-to-day basis? Well, let's find out. I'm at a standstill in first gear. I'm going to get to 40 miles an hour. See how quick I can do that. Give it some revs, lift the clutch up, and we're away. 25-ish, and around 40. There we go. Didn't take too long, but I had to really rev the engine to get it to accelerate that quickly. It wasn't particularly fast, but it just wasn't really slow either. If you want to go fast in this, you're going to have to be good at using your gears, and you're going to have to rev the engine. If not, it's going to struggle. Here's an example. I'm on a hill now, going uphill, trying to do 40 miles an hour in 5th gear up this hill. My foot is flat to the gas pedal and my speed isn't increasing. I can't press the pedal anymore, and it feels like it's slowed down a little bit there. Just come off the hill now, and now it's starting to accelerate a little bit. But although you need to really work the engine if you want to get anywhere, it's not all bad, because when you're not trying to work the car, it's really economical. It's sipping fuel, and it's also quite fun trying to drive quickly when you need to, having to work for your supper, so to speak. So got a difficult corner to pull out, or difficult junction to pull out of here, and I kind of want to go fast because there's a bend there and it's a 60 road. I don't want to hang around, so if I want to get going quickly, I need to get the front of the engine, and I can practice doing good gear changes as well. There we go, that's 40 miles an hour. Not fast, but enough. I like non-turbo engines, and that's because I like responsive engines. Turbo engines, don't get me wrong, they give you more power. You put a turbo on this engine, it will have more power and it will get you down that road more quickly, but it will be less responsive. All turbos, by design, are less responsive than non-turbo engines. And what I mean by response is how quickly the engine can keep up with your foot. So if you press the gas pedal a little bit, the engine speed rises a little bit with no delay. That's a responsive engine. A laggy engine, or an unresponsive engine, you press the gas a little bit, you wait a bit, and then the engine speed goes up. Does that matter very much? Well, for a new driver it matters more, because for a new driver who may not be used to the gas lag, they will press the gas a little bit thinking, well, I want to get a little bit of rev so I can move away, and they press the gas a little bit and nothing happens, and they think, oh, nothing, I'll give it a little bit more, and then suddenly they've got 3,000 RPM of revs because there's such a delay in their inputs to what the engine does. But if they've got a car without a turbo, they press the gas a little bit and the engine rises with their foot, which makes it much easier for setting off without over revving the engine or stalling, and much easier for parking. So if you're a new driver, a non-turbo engine is going to make your life a little bit easier. Now, I'm not going to go into what heel and toe is and why you may want to do it, but if you have a car without a turbo, it's much easier to get good at that technique because the gas pedal is responsive. For example, I'm braking, side of my foot to bring the revs up to make it easier for me to change down to 2nd gear. Very responsive, very easy. Now I've finished talking about the engine, I want to talk about the bad points of this car. And the thing I hate most about this car are its brakes. They are very unresponsive. Let me show you. I'm coming off the gas now and I'm starting to press the brake. Nothing's really happening. I'm pressing more brake, nothing's happening. I'm gradually increasing it, and now it's finally slowing down. That is a long pedal, and there's nothing wrong with these brakes. It's just how they are. Not easy. And I really don't like these seats. They aren't very comfortable. I'm quite skinny, so I don't have much of a bum. My legs kind of just stop at my back. And as a result, I really appreciate a comfortable seat. And at the moment, what bum I do have feels like it's kind of falling down here at the back a little bit. And nearer the front, I'm sitting on something that feels like, it's like raised bit here. It's almost like I'm sitting on a tube of kitchen roll. Really not very nice. And this bit of the seat here feels like it digs into your back a little bit. So you feel like it wants to make you kind of do that a little bit. And the material feels like it's been stolen off a bus. It's not very nice. Now, we all know what Ford stands for. Fixed or repaired daily. Okay, that may be a bit old hat now, and actually Ford make quite reliable cars. They're not brilliant and they're not bad, they're kind of average. But I did service it recently, and for a 6-year-old car, I wasn't too pleased with the level of rust I found under there. It does make me suspect the quality of the steel they use. Something else I really don't like about this car is this steering wheel. It's round, nothing wrong with that, and it's about the right size, but it's too squidgy, and the material it's made out of feels really cheap. And as you're touching it all the time when you're driving, it just reminds you that you're driving a cheap car, to be honest with you. And if it's your first car, no way is it a cheap car. There's no such thing as a cheap first car. It's going to cost you a fair percentage of the money you have for most people. A little bit of good material in here wouldn't have been too hard. And that's where I can't really forgive it, because it's not much cheaper than, say, a VW Polo, which feels so much more premium. I really don't know why you want to buy one of these over that. However, it does drive better. And that brings me on to the good points about this car. And one of its major advantages is its good chassis. I think it has the best chassis out of any small car. It does handle very well. You turn the steering wheel around a bend and it goes around the bend and makes the most out of its little tyres. It's also very easy to park, very easy to go around mini roundabouts too. And it strikes a really good balance between handling well and comfort. It rides the bumps and speed bumps really well too, which is quite unusual for a car that's trying to handle well. Normally you end up with something that's a little bit firm. This is comfortable, apart from the seat. It's also very cheap to fix, which is great if this is your first car. Most parts cost less than a can of your favourite fizzy drink, and it really doesn't drink much. You can easily get 50 miles to the gallon without trying in town, and when you are trying, 60 miles a gallon is actually quite possible. Don't think you're going to get the same economy out of the turbo variants. In my experience, I get closer to 40 to the gallon out of those, whereas 50 to the gallon out of this is very easy. It may say in the official statistics that they have similar economies, but in real world driving, those official statistics don't often really equate to much. And if you like to go undetected, this is the car for you. It's like a daisy in a meadow. There's so many of them in the UK. They're like houses. You can go from one place to another and no one's ever going to see you. You won't get waved to by your friends very often, put it that way. Come to think about it, good car for Prince Harry. Be able to go completely undetected by the paparazzi. It's fit for a prince. So is this the best first car you can buy? It's one of the best first cars you can buy, that's for sure. If you like this car, if you like the way it looks and you sit in it and you like the way it feels, mechanically and financially, it's got everything covered. If you like the car, it's a really good choice for a first car. If you're practicing without an instructor, make sure you have insurance. Get £20 off via the link in the description to Collingwood, who provides specialist learner insurance that allows you to practice in a friend or family member's car without risking their no claims bonus. If you want to insure your own car, click on the link to confused.com. I have found that they have the widest selection of cheap insurers for young drivers. And if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to get more videos like this, and until the next one, cheerio.